Today we are going to work with the last lesson in our series entitled How to Deal with Life. We've been working with that series for the last several weeks based on the story of the Hebrew patriarch Joseph. This morning our lesson is how to deal with success. I'm sure that you know about or have heard a name that has become very prominent in recent weeks on the television, the radio, and the newspaper and magazines. It's no secret. His name is Kobe Bryant. This man, Kobe, was at the top of his field.
Yes.
He had prestige and he had position. Had guns and he had power. Had wealth and fame. He had numerous endorsements that would be even more lucrative than the amount negotiated on his basketball contract. He was successful.
Yes.
However, he was not prepared to handle his success
All right. That's right.
in a way that would ensure its continuance.
Yes. Yes.
It's one thing to become successful.
Yes. Yes.
It's another thing to maintain that success.
That's right. That's right.
Now he is in trouble.
Yes.
And he stands to lose much of what he has acquired. Now, all of us sitting here have different ways of judging when someone is successful. And I'm sure that there are many who look at Kobe in his predicament who were envious of him previous to this. See, the human response to somebody living and having something that you want and do not have is to envy them. That's the human response. They got what I want. Come on now. And I can't get what I want. So the way I respond to this situation is just to envy you. Many young people want to be like Kobe because Kobe is a star. Young people are attracted. I said young people. Young people are attracted to glitter.
Yes. Yes.
Hello? To twinkle. And stars are glittery and twinkling. But the young and the young at heart, both, will agree that something has gone wrong.
Yes.
Now, if you listen to conversations, because it's been the talk of the town, the farm, the city, everywhere, there will be some people that will blame Kobe and say that he is so stupid.
That's right.
Don't act like it's somebody in here said that. And then there are others who will blame the young woman in question and accuse her of seducing him. For you see, anytime something happens, women get to blame. They lured men into situations of which they had no control.
Oh, is that
Of course, they're supposed to be the head of the house. I won't go any further with that. God bless you, my brother. maybe the real problem is that Kobe didn't know how to deal with success.
Yes, yes, that's what it's about.
The hardest people to give new insights to things is people that are already successful.
Yes, yes, yes.
Failures tend to be open.
Yes, yes, yes.
When they done failed, they know something's wrong. When you've been successful, you think everything's all right.
Yes.
People who are successful will quickly tell you, if you say something to them, that they have made it. And they have all the trinkets to prove that they've made it. Now, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with trinkets and awards and honors and other accolades. However, you must be able to keep everything in its proper perspective.
That's right, that's right, that's right.
Is that not true? I was telling them this morning, you see, when you begin to deal on that level where you get awards and honors and accolades and praise and big money, you got to be able to handle it.
Amen.
There's a force and an energy that surrounds all of that, and if you have not been properly attuned to something greater than all of the trinkets, you can get caught up in that.
That's right, that's right.
That's the reason you find that a lot of people that are successful are drunkards or addicts or sex fiends, because they don't know what to do with the energy that is passing through them. There are many people that go to the top, many stars that flit across the sky and die in the point of their passage because they don't know what to do with success.
That's right, that's right, that's right. I agree.
See, a proper perspective is not the applause for the same ones that were applauding him. The ones that held out the contracts for the endorsements have pulled their hands back.
That's right. First one.
You must have something inside of yourself. You must have an inner centering point inside of yourself. You must never believe your own press release. Because, see, you paid that dude to write it in the first place. You must understand that everything that you are able to do and everything that you have is by the grace of God. And when you forget that, you fall. It takes a lot of effort to get to the top.
Yes, it does.
It only takes one night
That's right. That's the truth.
to bring you to the bottom.
That's right, that's right. Tell us like it is.
And so my thesis for the lesson today, written in your bulletin, is simply this: success is more than outer accomplishments. It is a demonstration of inner wholeness. all the possessions that you have. I want you to have a reality check here. You can have 15 cars if you want it. A home in every country on the globe.
Yes, yes.
Closets filled with clothes.
Yes.
Jewels bedazzling around your neck and every part of your body you can fit them on.
All right, all right.
Awards on your wall.
Uh-huh.
Your name in the newspaper. And a big fat bank account.
Yes.
Hello? But you checking them in at the door.
All right. All right.
You cannot take it with you.
Sure can. That's right.
And what you leave, all your lazy relatives
They gonna take it.
fight over it.
Right, right.
They be at your grave. She go, who got the TV? She gone. They didn't spend all that insurance money in that casket. That's a cheap one. I've seen people fight over a television that doesn't work.
That's right.
Come on now.
That's right.
You better get something in your life more than your possessions, more than your awards.
Yes.
What you think they gonna do with that trophy you had? Sooner or later, somebody gonna throw it out.
They don't have any.
That's right. That's right. Come on now.
Right. Tell it like it is.
All the possessions in the world simply turn into ashes when you don't have yourself together. There's a member of this church that used to be in show business and help a star. I won't name her name because he told it to me. And she would be so drunk when it came time for her to perform, they had to prop her up to sing.
That's right.
Now you tell me, what can you get when you can't even think clearly?
Thank you. Thank you.
Do you understand what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do.
All the fame in the world, and somebody got to prop you up because you so drunk you can't prop up yourself? Why'd you get quiet?
But it's the truth. Sad, sad.
All the honors and awards lose their significance when you don't have yourself together.
That's right.
Your success should not be something that somebody confers upon you.
That's right. That's right.
Hello? Like an endorsement. He that conferreth the endorsement can also take it away. Success should not be conferred upon you. Success should come forth out of you, out of the integrity of how you live your life.
Right, right.
You can't live your life one way on the basketball court and one way in the motel room.
Right on. Right on. Right on.
That's why we hide and so secretive, because we live in one way here and another way somewhere else. And when you are fragmented, it causes dysfunctional behavior and experiences. I'm a minister at 11 o'clock in the daytime and 11 o'clock at night. I'm a minister in the platform. I'm a minister in the restaurant. I am who I am wherever I am. That's when you begin to have some wholeness. Hello? And your success, you can handle your success because the success isn't coming to you, the success is coming out of you. Let's go to the story, Joseph. When we met Joseph in this story, he was 17 years old. And for some of us, that tell you a whole lot right there. Hello? You ever known a 17-year-old? How many of you know a 17-year-old? Joseph was arrogant. Joseph was egocentric. Joseph was a brat. Maybe it's because he was 17 years old. No, seems like I know some 47-year-olds. It's not in the chronological age. It's in the development of the soul. Hello? When you think that the whole world revolves around you.
All right.
Hello? Let me tell you who's the star of the universe. The only star of the universe is God.
Right.
Hello?
Right.
And God appears as you. So when you accept the Oscar, always accept it in behalf of God.
Right. Right. Right.
You understand what I'm talking about?
Right.
Joseph dreamed when we met him. And even the fact of how he told the dream told you that he wasn't too mature.
That's right.
He tells this dream, but he is not ready for the fulfillment of the dream. I want to go back to you. He's not ready for the fulfillment of the dream. As long as you are dreaming,
All right now. Come on.
you are not ready for the fulfillment. When you have the fulfillment, you cease to dream.
That's right.
You now interpret.
Okay. All right.
Are you here? There's a difference between dreaming and interpreting.
That's right.
Meaning is not found in the dreaming.
All right.
Meaning is found in the interpreting. Are you still with me now? You see, Joseph had not yet developed. Don't try to demonstrate that which you have not developed a consciousness to support.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Hello? You can do a lot of things in the outer. I can do a lot of things in the outer. But if I have not produced a consciousness that can support it,
That's it.
even if it turns out to be profitable, I cannot hold it. I want to talk to you. There's something that has to happen to us, and it is called character development. Hello? I know you think prayer
Yeah. Come on now.
is about turning in your wish list to God,
That's right.
but true prayer
That's right.
is about character reformation. Character is the cup. If the cup is cracked, then the contents of the cup will spill out, no matter how good the contents are. You can have a wonderful cup of coffee, but if the cup is cracked, then you can't enjoy the coffee because it's going to leak out to the floor of the ground. That's what happens to us. Our character is cracked. And when God begins to put his gifts in us, his skills in us, his talents in us, they spill out because you've got to get the cup right. See, you must have your life in alignment. We're out of alignment. Have you ever driven a car that's out of alignment? That's what happened to our lives. Our lives are not aligned with our purpose. So we do anything that anybody else does, thinking we can get the results that they get, but you don't have the consciousness to deal with it. That's why you see people sit in seats of authority and they're insecure and play games and tricks. Something about how they got there. When you understand how this works, you don't have to play no games with anybody, and you don't have to play no politics. You can stand flat-footed on who and what you are as a person of integrity, and nobody can take your seat till you get ready to give it to them.
All right, all right.
All this junk that goes on in corporations and on companies and in churches even. We're afraid to honor one another, scared they're going to take something that you got.
That's right. That's right.
You can't take nothing that I got.
Amen.
Simple reason is I'm going to give it to you. The reason I'm going to give it to you is so I can make room for some more to come to me.
That's right, that's right.
People holding back. This is for somebody today. People holding back. I'm not going to teach her the job, because then she'll know what I know. Well, you don't know too much anyway.
That's right.
You need to be making room to learn something else. God trying to take you to another level, and you keep holding to the basement. See, you don't know nothing about basements here in Florida. Some of us from up north know what I'm talking about. Basements. Sometimes life gets so desperate you want to jump out the basement building. Now, here's what I want to get. Even if you get successful and you're not ready,
That's right.
you will bring into your life other difficulties.
That's right.
Yes,
That's right.
yes,
That's
yes.
right. You got it.
You cannot stay where you have not gotten lawfully.
That's right, that's right.
That's right.
Now, you can laugh at it all you want.
That's right.
You can get all the lawyers you want and pay them too.
That's right.
Hello?
All right.
There are many people who tried to protect their wealth by getting the lawyers and ended up giving the lawyers all they wealth to protect the position that they lost.
Come on now.
When Joseph, I want to share something with you, I'm working with the story. When Joseph's brothers sold him into slavery, he begged them not to do that.
Yes.
Watch this. But when you read the story in the beginning where it talks about that scene of them selling him into slavery, there's no mention of him begging them not to. It doesn't show up, watch this, it doesn't show up until later in the story when the brothers have now come to Egypt to buy grain because the famine has hit Canaan. And Joseph is requiring them to get their brother Benjamin and bring them back. I want to show you this. The memory comes back to them that this is because they had sold their other brother Joseph into slavery when he begged them Scripture says, in anguish,
Okay. Come on.
not to sell him. Joseph's got a lot to forgive.
Yes.
Well,
I want to set this up for you. Joseph has a lot to forgive.
Yes, he does.
Here's his brothers who begging and pleading. See, we didn't know that before.
Yeah.
begging and pleading, sold him anyway.
Yeah.
He's wrenched from the protective environment of his father's house and taken to a foreign land, and then ends up in Potiphar's house, only to be falsely accused by Potiphar's wife and sent to prison by Potiphar. Joseph has a lot to forgive.
Yes, yes, yes.
And in prison, even when it seems like he has networked his way to success. Some of y'all know that's why you go to cocktail parties. Networked his way to success. And told the cupbearer, remember me when you get back into Pharaoh's house. The cupbearer immediately forgot him. Joseph has a lot to forgive. Brings us to point number 1. Forgiveness allows you to reconcile divergent aspects of yourself.
That's right.
Now, what you mean by that, Mary? How does that fit, Mary? Well, remember when we first started this series, what we said was that every character represents a quality in you.
That's right. That's right.
Hello? Is that right? Now, I told you that Joseph had a lot of people to forgive.
Right.
Yes.
All right.
But each one of them was a part of him.
That's right. That's right.
Hello? So, the only reason
Come on now.
that these folks showed up like they did is to show you what's going on inside of you.
All right now.
Breathe.
That's right. That's right. So big.
The only reason you see it out there is because you are a materialist.
That's right.
And your reality is in the 3-dimensional world. So in order for you to learn something about yourself, it's got to appear as somebody or something. One person,
Come on now.
take an Edgar,
Yeah, Edgar.
is going to mean
That's right.
different things
That's right.
to different people.
That's right.
That's right. That's right.
And none of them is Edgar. Because there is no Edgar.
All right.
All right. All right. All right.
All right.
Well, you say it. There's only God.
That's right.
So in the first place, when you start seeing Edgars and Susies and Jims and Henrys and Helens and all of that, you are simply seeing a part of yourself. Now, let me finish that. That really isn't either.
All right.
That's right. All right now. All right. All right now.
Notice what scripture does to a character. Character comes forward, does whatever he or she is going to do, recedes back into the background. Right? Sometimes if they die, they just die. They come back. Then something else comes to the fore because you are only dealing with your own soul's unfoldment until you get to the place to knowing that you are one with God.
That's right.
Come on, talk to me now.
Come on now.
Therefore, the people we believe have hurt us, done something to us, in some way hindered us, have done nothing to us. Now that's a hard one. Ain't it hard? Because you can remember the day You wrote it up in your diary. Hello? You even can remember the hour. Some of you can remember what you had on when it happened. The place. You can give the exact longitude and latitude. I am saying something very radical. You invited that appearance, and it obliged you.
All right, all right.
It's sort of like you having a mansion and a servant.
That's right.
When you ring the bell,
That's right.
the butler comes. And the butler says, how may I serve you?
That's right.
All of those folks
Come on now.
all of those situations that you have blamed are simply servants that work for you, that you have called to perform a service. Now, since you called them, you ought to let them deliver. Breathe. I want to talk about forgiveness a moment. Forgiveness is a topic that is misunderstood. We think that we can simply say a few words and complete the forgiveness process. Now, they're going to tell you all many things. You can tell them this is what your preacher said. Now, you take your choice. But I'm going to tell you, in accordance with God's word, forgiveness is not complete until there is a realization that there was nothing to forgive in the first place. I forgive you, but I don't forget it. You can stay on that level if you want to. It's a lie, and the truth is not in it. You don't even remember what you had for lunch 2 weeks ago. How is it that you carry this stuff that happened 20 years ago?
Amen.
You can release it if you want to, and if you want to be able to get in a seat and hold it at the top, you will release it, because if you don't release it, it's going to give you problems later on. And nobody did anything to you. Now I'm going to hit you again. Watch it now. Personally or as a people group. You either believe in the universal laws or you don't. God is no respecter of persons. It ain't the person, it's what's going on inside of you. And if you don't clarify that, you ring the bell and the servant comes and delivers what you already had in yourself. Scripture tells you in Daniel 6:22, when Daniel was in the lion's den and he survived the night with the hungry lions, and the king came down and said, Daniel, are you all right, Daniel? Daniel says, what makes you think I ain't all right? So you've been down there with hungry lions. I didn't ask you, was the lions hungry? What makes you think I ain't all right? There was nothing for them to bite.
All right now.
Nothing in you, nothing you do can touch me unless I allow it to. You're a lie.
Come on now.
There's no resonance in me.
That's right.
So I can sleep with the lions. That's what the new heaven by the prophets. You'll lie down with the asp.
That's right.
You'll walk with the lion.
That's right.
Because a lion will be just another little pussy cat.
All right now.
You see, when you understand there's nothing to forgive, there can then be a reconciliation. Let's go take this further. If the person, Edgar out here, represents something in me, then when I reconcile, it's not so much about me reconciling with Edgar, but it's about the reconciliation of these qualities in me. So now let's go back to the point. Little Joseph's brothers disliked him, hated him, treated him wrong. But this scene that we are talking about from the scripture today, he embraces them. He embraces the divergent qualities that at one time had been in war with him, and he kisses them. He reconciles with who? Himself.
That's right.
Are you with me?
Yes.
Joseph, for all intents and purposes, you read the story, had plenty to hold a grudge about.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
I don't want to hear your case,
Come on now.
because I'm sure you can prove
That's right.
with evidence
That's right.
that you kept. You've kept evidence.
Come on now.
Watch this. Of how somebody did you wrong. You've kept the memory fresh.
That's right.
Because you've rehearsed it with anybody who would listen to you. Then, when your friends and family and acquaintance won't listen to you, you write a book.
That's right.
That's right.
Come on now.
And you go on the book tour telling, help me, Jesus. Talking about this. And at the same time saying you want to be free. You can't do both.
That's right now. Come on now.
You get to the top, something must happen. Because you're not ready to stay there.
All right. All right.
That's why you see people tumbling.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
Ain't no entrapment.
No, it ain't.
Don't you know nobody can trap you? The reason people get trapped is because they tried to pull something in the first place.
All right now.
It'll even elude you that they trying to trap you. Hello? You understand? It's like the mouse. You set the trap, he get the cheese, and keep running around the kitchen.
That's right.
He think it's a plate with dinner. You think I'm gonna get it. When you hold a grudge, you never improve yourself.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
Right.
And if you never improve yourself, you never can get any further.
Thank you. We gonna stand still. That's the truth. That's the truth.
I want to help you with the reconciliation process. It's not in your lesson. I want you to write this. We met Joe. He's the favorite of his father. He's in a privileged position. He gets all of the nice stuff and the praise of his father and stuff. He's protected and all the wonderful stuff is happening. And then his brothers catch him and sell him into slavery. Automatic demotion. Right? He leaves the protective environment of his home. He's no longer with his dad. He's a slave. Watch this. He goes from a privileged son to status as in a foreign.
Foreign country. That's right. That's right.
Here, there are times, listen to me carefully. There are times in our lives when we may have to take a step back before we take a step forward. may have to take it. Do not let this disturb you. Why did you have to take a step back? Is that punishment? No, it's education. There was something in the educational process of your life that you didn't get.
All right. Okay now. Come on.
Hello? So you have to go back. Now, if you allow it, you can see it as humiliating.
Right. Right.
That is only in your mind. Watch this. It's how you look at something. Don't let what you think other people are thinking ruin your educational process. Let me tell you about people. Will they talk? Yes. Will they talk forever? No. No, they won't. They move on to something else. It's called news. You ain't news no more. If people thought about you as much as you think they thinking about you, they wouldn't have any time to live their own life.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Ain't nobody thinking about you all the time. Wonder where people going.
All right now.
They done thought it and moved on to something else. Don't let this experience deprive you of future forward moves.
Okay.
The key here is attitude adjustment. Put that down. Attitude adjustment.
All right.
Your attitude is your mental position
That's right. That's right.
on any given issue. The action you take in this time is to complete the task that is before you right now.
All right.
So if you read the story of Joseph, let's go back over the story of Joseph. Wherever he was, he did good.
That's right.
When he was sold as a slave in Potiphar's house, he ran the house. He was the manager of Potiphar's household. He did the job good. What we do when we go back is do a lousy job to show them how you won't take this. What you do is assure that you can't go forward.
All right now.
Okay.
That's right. That's right.
Do you understand that? The action is complete the task before you with excellence.
That's it.
People have the tendency to hold back excellence, hold back quality until some greater day. No task is menial
That's right.
because it's not the outer act, it's the inner disposition.
That's right. That's right.
And if you're not giving your all, then you can't go further. Don't let anybody make you give a mediocre job doing anything.
That's right. That's
All
right.
right.
Remember, what you're doing is attracting successive experiences.
All right. That's it. That's it.
Number two, under this. Throughout Joseph's experiences in the story, there was a repetitive phrase. The Lord, what? Was with Joseph.
Yes, yes, yes.
The law, which is what the Lord means, the law is always with you. There is a plan at work in your life. You got to understand this. It is not the one you put in your daytime.
All right now. All right.
Go home and read Jeremiah 29:11.
That's right.
God has a plan for you.
That's right.
Whether you ever check in with it or not, God has a plan for you. And all of these little goals that you have is simply to help you get in alignment with God's plan for you. God's plan is always greater
That's right.
than anything you could imagine.
That's right.
All right.
That's right. That's right.
I could work with that for you, but I don't have time. But let me get
Come on now.
Joseph never sought to manipulate life.
That's it. That's it. Yes. Yes.
Joseph was in prison, and he stayed in prison,
Amen. All right.
doing his best in prison,
That's right.
automatically rising in prison.
That's right.
Hello? Joseph was thrown out by his brothers and went to a foreign country. He made do with it
All right now. Come on now.
because it had a lesson for him.
That's right.
Number 3. That was 2. Under my reconciliation.
That's right.
I told you to write long time ago. We ready to go to 3. I don't know what blank you was filling in. But I'm going to trust God this morning. Number 3. Off the blank page. Joseph embraced his brothers, the ones who had set in motion, watch this, his reformation.
That's right. That's right.
Something has to move you into the Reformation era.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
When, watch this, because this is powerful, that one line.
Yes, it is.
He embraced his brothers, then they talked to him.
That's it. That's it. All right now.
These qualities that have seemed to be in opposition to you will open up and reveal to you
That's right.
their lesson for you when you embrace them.
That's right.
That's right. Come on now.
Now, number 2 on your lesson sheet. When you rise in consciousness, you are able to put together the pieces of your life.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
In our introductory lesson of this series, we said that when we study a story, it enabled us to recognize patterns. And through the patterns, we could then derive the meaning. Remember that? Watch how this worked in Joseph's life, because this is powerful. Listen to me. The brothers of Joseph hated him, for they felt that Joseph interfered, right?
That's right.
With the love that the father would have for them.
That's right.
Is that right?
That's right.
They figured if they got him out of the way, then they could receive what he had been receiving.
Right. That's right.
So the first thought to them was, here come the dreamer. Let's kill him.
Yeah.
Then the brothers decide, well, watch now. Talking about qualities. Why? Well, we won't kill him. We'll sell him
That's right.
into slavery, right? So then Joseph is taken from this protective life into a foreign land as a slave. And his experiences become very, let me call them interesting detours. But the detours eventually lead him
That's right.
to the prestigious position. Huh? Is that right?
Yeah.
It, Potiphar's house, even before Jean Potiphar accused him, was not his right place.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Was not his true place. He needed to stop there because there was something to learn, but he was getting a bit too comfortable.
All right now.
So something had to arise to kick him out. He would not have willingly gone to jail and said, here I am, lock me up. But he needed to go to jail. And so he found himself in jail, which was his right place, but not his true place. Until the opportunity came to get to his true place. Is that not right? Now, he's called on, watch this, to interpret, not dream anymore.
That's right.
He's called on to interpret the dream of the Pharaoh.
That's right.
Along with the interpretation, God reveals to him a plan.
That's right.
He comes out of jail with a plan. In other words, it wasn't just a dream,
All right now.
neither was it an interpretation, but it was also a strategy of implementation. Help me today. He had something of substance to back him up for being in the chair. Not just because he was cute.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Cuteness won't keep you. Not just because you're the favorite. Favoritism won't keep you. You gotta have some substance.
Yeah, yeah.
Come on now.
Watch this. He is an able administrator because one of the stops along the way, he had learned business management. And he is able then to set up a system that allows Egypt. I wish I could talk about that system. I want to talk about after the brothers got there and the system. Got time to talk about the system.
Come on now. Come on now.
It was brilliant beyond what you think.
Correct. That's right.
Joseph said, here's a system that'll work out. The same brothers.
Come on now. Come on.
Same brothers. Then when he begged them not to sell him,
That's right.
the same brothers show up.
That's right. You showed up. That's right.
And this time, he's the one in power.
Yes, 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 yes.
He got the position.
That's right. That's right.
He plays with him a little bit. Just like to tell him, see, he got to get himself straight out too. Because the first inclination, he got a little human still up in there. So, boy, can I get you now? And if I get you, you won't even know what got you. Because you don't even recognize me. Never in your mind could you conceive that I'd be here in this position. This is the problem. He had a realization. He put the pieces together.
All right now.
God,
Come on now. That's right.
not the brothers. God, not Potiphar's wife. God, not the jail keeper, brought him in this position. Now I'll tell you about this, a strange God. Put him in that position so he could help the ones.
All right now. Come on now.
So he could help the ones that did him wrong. Do you get this message? God takes you to the point of success. Not so you can hang your plaques on the wall, but so that you can reach back and get all of those who did you wrong and help them to see that they're God's child too, and that God wants the best for them. When you get successful that way, one night can't trip you up.